My name is Captain Larson. I'm going to talk to you about the Trail of Tears. The Trail of Tears is a historical event involving the Cherokee, the Chickasaws, the Choctaws, the Creek, and the Seminoles. This event changed their lives forever. Today I'm going to talk to you about how the government wanted the natives gone, the Seminole Wars, how the Cherokee settled things in a different way, and how John Ross appealed to the government on the Cherokees' behalf. Starting with my main point, in 1814, President Andrew Jackson with the government negotiated with the natives in order to exchange their lands in the east for lands in the west. To maintain some land and in hopes of keeping peace with the settlers, the natives agreed and moved to the west. With the treaties in place, the government received control of most of Alabama and Florida. They also gained parts of Georgia, Tennessee, Mississippi, Kentucky, and North Carolina. On to my second point. The government could not force the Seminoles to leave. This resulted in the First Seminole War, which lasted 1 year from 1817 to 1818. They were helped by the black fugitive slaves because the Seminole had taken them in and hidden them from their white slavers. As a result, the government was more adamant about removing the natives. In 1833, the government came to the Seminole with another treaty, signed by a minority of the Seminole, and when the government tried to relocate them, the majority refused, resulting in the Second Seminole War from 1835 to 1842. At the end of the Second War, most of the Seminole were moved into the new territory. The few who were left behind ended up in the Third Seminole War, which lasted from 1855 to 1858. The government had to pay the remaining group to leave. Are there any questions? On to my third point. The Cherokee decided to settle things in a different way. In 1827, the Cherokee developed a written constitution that was based on the United States policy. The Constitution declared that the Cherokee would be their own sovereign nation. When the state of Georgia disagreed, the Cherokee went and pleaded their case in the Supreme Court. In 1838, the Treaty of New Dakota was created, which was a small group of Cherokee who called themselves the Treaty Party, which included Major Ridge, his son John, and Elias Boudinot, signed this Treaty of New Dakota, which stated that the eastern Cherokee lands would be sold for $5 million each, which is only 5% of what the actual cost was. A year later, when the Treaty of New Dakota was put into action, the natives were moved into stockades and internment camps. These were located 13 in Georgia, 5 in North Carolina, 8 in Tennessee, and 5 in Alabama. Once they were all moved into those, they were then moved again into the internment camps, which were 10 in Tennessee and 1 in Alabama. In all, 4,800 natives lost their homes. Are there any questions?
Yeah, what is the difference between the stockades and the internment camps?
The stockades were put up just really fast and very crudely without even basic necessities, just for the purpose of holding them until they could be moved into the internment camps. From there, they would be moved to Indian Territory.
Oh, okay, thank you.
On to my last point. John Ross appealed to the government so that the Cherokee could see to their own removal. This was because of the death rate that was happening to the natives when they were moved by the government. When this was approved, the natives were moved into 16 detachments. each of these was about 1,000 natives each. They were moved on, there were two routes. There was the water route and there was the land route. 3 of the 16, which was about 2,800 natives, left via the river. This started in Tennessee and went on to the Mississippi River, up into the Arkansas River, and past Fort Smith it went into the mouth of the Salsa Creek, which is located near Fort Coffee, and they ended here on June 19th, 1838. The other 13 detachments were moved by land. Each detachment was from 700 to 1,600 natives. These groups were accompanied by a conductor, or led by a conductor or an assistant, which were chosen by Ross, and included a physician and possibly a clergyman. Given few supplies of flour, corn, salted pork, coffee, and sugar, all of poor quality, and due to a hard winter, numbers were reduced greatly, mainly from pneumonia. Are there any questions over the map?
Yeah, why is it not a straight route, the land route? Why do they jog here and there?
Because most of the little towns that aren't listed on the map, they had to go around because they weren't allowed to go through them.
Oh, okay, thank you.
John Burnett, who was a private in the 2nd Regiment of the Mounted Infantry, states, "I saw the helpless Cherokees arrested and dragged from their homes and driven at bayonet point into the stockades. And I have known as many as 22 of them to die of pneumonia due to ill treatment, cold, and exposure." Before the settlers came, in conclusion, before the settlers came, Native Americans led a fairly peaceful life. The arrival of the settlers changed all that. Because of certain Americans' greed for land and power, and their prejudices towards the natives, several tribes lost their home, a great deal of their heritage, and a large number even lost their lives. Thank you for listening.